Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. My name is Mina Villalpando. I am the program coordinator for Imperial MESA, and on this video we'll go over more CSS rules. So just like every other video I've done, here's our website, ivmesaprogram.org. Check it out. We have a lot of information, not just for this year's competition. We also have for MESA Day or for any of the other competitions that we have currently. And we'll host for the near future. Okay, so right over here, down here, we have the rules. Also to the left, we have the instructional videos. So the rules, if you want to go over them and figure out what it is you need to actually write. I know I've been talking to some students and that seems to be the problem, so check them out. The rules are right over here. Once you click on it, it will take you straight to the rules and pretty much go one by one with each rule. At the beginning, it's pretty much if you've been watching the rest of the videos, if you watch 1 through 7, then you already know what program we're using, what online IDE we're using, and stuff like that. How to work with HTML and CSS and JavaScript. JavaScript will be in the future videos. And so if you want to know what to write, what it is you have to write, here it is. Here's pretty much the project requirements. So you would have to research about college, career interests, and engineer marvel, information about yourself and about me, what you see yourself doing in 10 years from now, and a reflection page giving your younger self advice to be successful in the present. And obviously the last one will be works cited. So definitely keep in mind all this information whenever you're building your website. It has to have all this information, and it necessarily doesn't have to be in this order. It can be in any order you want to. Obviously, works cited would be the last one, just like every traditional essay or anything like that. Works cited usually is the last thing you do. But from 1 through 6, you definitely don't need to follow the order. You can write whatever you want. Page 1, where it says research about college, can be actually page 6, can be your last one. It's really up to you. The only thing we want you guys to have is to pretty much be as creative and open-minded as possible. So there is pretty much, that is the only rules that we want, is for you guys to actually write about that information into your webpage. Other than that, you can go crazy, you can add animation, anything like that. Just remember, keep it PG, even G, actually. No inappropriate explicit images and stuff like that. So just remember that is pretty much the only thing you just have to pay attention to, or else you will get disqualified. It's simple as that. So just remember that. Here's the submission date. So it has to be submitted by December 3rd. It's October, so we still have a lot of time. We still have November. So yeah, check it out. Here's also how to submit it. Here's our website. Our email. We keep going more further down. We have the rubrics for everything else. So definitely check them out. Check out the rules. Figure out what you're going to write, what you need to do. It's a lot easier to write everything on a piece of paper. So definitely check them out. If we go back to our website, also the instructional videos are here. But also check it out. If you need help one-on-one with me, Mondays and Tuesdays, starting at 2 p.m. sharp, I've been hosting Zoom meetings. Okay, so if you want to join in, if you're in the after school or during school MESA classes, email me or ask your teacher about it. Here's my email, mvalpando@ststu, or ask your teachers about it. If you need help or anything like that, let me know. You can definitely email me with your name, school, and grade. That way I know who am I talking to. I'll send you the link for it, and if not, then I can answer your. If I can answer your questions through email, then I'll definitely do that. But definitely email me if you need help. Any questions whatsoever with the rules, this year's competition, or anything in general. Okay, there's my email. I'll answer as quickly as possible. Okay, so now. So now that we're over all of this, we'll go over CSS Ruling. We'll go and talk about our web page and what else can we do. So at this point, we've done a lot of things with CSS. We've played around extensively. There's a lot of things that we can go over. So right now, if you guys can see right here to my right, we have a very, very simple HTML. Like everything else, we're done with HTML. HTML is pretty much very simple. If you need help looking at HTML, this is not the video. My previous videos that say HTML will definitely help you out more. We'll go over more HTML and stuff like that. So definitely check those out. But we're on this video we're talking strictly about CSS, maybe some HTML, but more about CSS. Okay, so what we have right here on the top, if you guys can see from my screen, on line 1, obviously we have the body, and what it's doing is it's pretty much just the font family. Okay, it's figuring it out what type of font we're using, and I've used 3 different fonts. So the first one is going to do Arial, and if that is not supported by the browser, if anything, it'll go over Vernanda, and then sans serif. So those are pretty much it. It will definitely check them out and see which one it can actually render and which one is supported by the browser. Okay, so if we go down here into our 4th line, right over here, it is just the ruling for headers 1, 2, and 3. So if I have any headers between those 3, it'll pretty much do what it's gonna do right here. The font family, I just put Arial. The color of it, now the color of this, it's very, very different from what we talked about. This is more strictly for the previous video number 7, where we talked about coloring. So this one is HSLA. What it does is the first one right here talks about the color wheel. So we're actually doing degrees. So from 0 to 360, it will, those are pretty much the colors on the wheel. We pick a number between 0 to 360, and it will render that color. And then the other ones are pretty much saturation, opaque, and then transparency. So those are one way to get pretty much the color you're looking for, being a little bit more exact. Obviously, we also have hex code, RGB, or actually naming the color of it. Okay, that'll be a lot easier if you just want a very generic color. Now, right over here, we have the font size. So for this one, the headers, I played around with 32. You can definitely play around with more. 32 would be the size of what we're looking for. Okay. Now, right over here at the bottom, we have a hex code for the color, and then we also have a font size. Okay. So what we're gonna do right here is pretty much add a shadow box. Okay, so one of the schools from us has requested some ideas, some questions for me to answer. So if you definitely have some questions, if you're looking at this, email me. Again, my email is in the beginning of this video, mvalpando@stsu.edu. email me. That way I can answer your questions through this video, just like I'm doing right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add pretty much a border style. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. Just because the border style would help with how my CSS is going to look like, and it's maybe if you want to do this through your your own web page, you can definitely do this, and it'll add some texture, some uniqueness to this. Okay, so the first thing we have to write down is obviously start a new line, figure out where we're going to use it. I'm starting on the P for paragraph in HTML because it's a small area, but still we can figure out where it is. It's already color coded it. I don't have to play around with it, and it's a lot easier too. I can definitely add more stuff to the header or the body, but to make it a little bit more pop up and distinguish, I will use the paragraph. Okay, so just like any CSS, you can guess what we're actually gonna write. Since I already told you border style, there it is. Simple as that. Um, and then we can start writing a lot of different things. So the main one, obviously, we can start writing with a solid. We press run, and there it is. So it's a solid border around our paragraph. Um, if I wanted something different, I can definitely add more. Okay, so we have solid. You can guess the other one. Dotted. And there it is. See? Very simple, but also very effective. You can play around with it a lot. We also have a dash. And there you have it. It's a little bit dashed. Let's do double. So now this one, you can probably guess what it is going to run. And it's a double line. Now you can't see this one. It's a little too small, unfortunately. Let me turn this off. And there you have it. Now I am zooming in there just so you guys can see what the double line looks like. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, so yeah, so pretty much this is the double line, double lined. Yeah, there's not a lot of difference between this one and an actual line if you're looking at the resolution and how it looks like there. But you can play around with it. There's also a groove. I'm going to go over almost every single one of these. Again, this one, it looks like it didn't render. But the groove is pretty much like a gray one. Very, very subtle, if you want to. Very different color. So previously the borders were actually just one color. So those are it. And there's also ridge. And again, it's gonna look from here on. There's really not a lot of distinguish between ridge and groove. They're pretty much the same, just a slightly different shade of grade in there. Okay, now we have inset. We run it, and as you can see, well, you can't really see. Now you can see the borders. They're pretty much, if you can see right here, it's like having a little shadow from the back, and then the bottom will be very it's pretty much looks like it's embedded onto the web page. That's what it looks like. Okay. And then we also have another one. And then this one we have outset. You press it, and again, now this one looks the opposite of inset. Okay, it looks like it pretty much pops out. It's coming out of the screen. That's what it's gonna look like. So you can play around with these and figure out which one you like. Again, you have to figure out your own webpage. Figure out what you like and what will look better. Okay. So now we're gonna go over another one, which is gonna be the border color. So as you guys can see, some of these actually did change it um, to different coloring. One was gray, the other ones were actually the same color as the font. Um, so I'm just gonna leave it here with this one, and then I'm gonna go move on to our header, and I'm gonna start with border style. And then on this one, I'm just going to keep it very, very simple. And I'm going to do a solid. And then we will go with the border color. Okay, so just like pretty much any other CSS rule, it looks like this. And at this point you can use any hex, any hex code, any RGB, AHSLA, or just name the color. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to name the color. I'm going to have it right here, black. Okay. And just so that there's a very, very different distinction between these ones and the other one, you press run, and there you have it. Okay. You can change the color just like what I did right over here. Let's go with some of the RGB and pop it up. And there you have it. You guys can see definitely the border. It's quite different. Almost the same as a font. You can see that I'm trying to do like a little bit of a theme for this. But you can play around with colors. Okay, you can Google and see which colors play around good with every other color. Play around with it. Coloring is gonna make and break your web page. So make sure it is everything solid, as in what colors combine with other colors and what looks good and what kind of message you're going through. Okay, so that is one way to do it. Okay, so we can definitely play around with that, play a lot more stuff. There's a lot of things we can go and play with these borders. That'll be definitely helpful. You can definitely write the color, the background. So and it will show inside the box. Okay. So now another one. Now this one is very, very specific to one of the questions I actually got this past week, and we're gonna answer it right here. So one of the questions was, okay, how to add a box around my body and change the background color. Okay. So we already did that one. Okay, we added a box and then we changed the background color, so it would be pretty much the same, just what we did right there. The other question was how to add a shadow to a box. Okay, so we're gonna run it and pretty much clear everything that we have right here. Leave it like that. We don't want to do anything else. Now the other one we're gonna do is pretty much called a box shadow. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the paragraphs. Or better yet, let's do the headers. That way you guys can see a big difference in there. Okay, so like any other CSS box shadow, very, very straightforward. That's the rule that we're gonna use. Now this one, okay, pretty much allows you to drop a shadow around a box. Okay, it has different values inside of there. So we also have a horizontal offset, a vertical offset, a blur distance, and a spread of shadow. Okay, so you necessarily don't have to use a couple of these. You can just use one or two of the values in order to do this the box shadow. Okay, so for this example, we're going to use -5 pixels. Okay, space -5 pixels. Now these ones are in negative value. Um, you can add positive, but for right now, I want you guys to show you. I want to show you guys what a negative value will look like and what effects it has. Okay. The next one we're gonna do an actual hex code. We're gonna write down hashtag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then close it like that. Now this is a very distinct way of adding the value. We've seen before that commas separating the values is pretty much what we've used. For this one, HSLA, commas and a parentheses to pretty much distinguish the values. This one is very shorthanded, if you want to call it like that. Just straightforward what you need for those values. It doesn't need comma in between them, and it will work perfectly. Okay, we run that, and there you have it. That is one way to add a shadow. It looks a little different, just because this is very straightforward. We need to add what a shadow looks like. Okay, the opacity, the pretty much the blur of it. Okay, of a shadow. Right now it's very straightforward, very aligned. It looks pretty good. If you want to play around with it and leave it like this, it will look perfect too. Obviously, you will have to trim it a little bit and play around with it. Okay. Um, so we have that one. We can also add the blur distance in there. Okay. So the blur distance will go third after. So right now the negative would go with horizontal offset, vertical offset, and then the blur distance, which we write down as a positive number, and then we're going to change these to positive so that we can see the difference between negative and positive. And there you have it. We're going to open it up right here. And now this one definitely looks like it's popping out. It's part of the shadow. Um, To make it a little bit more pop out, we would have to add a background color to the header. Okay, so we'll go right over here just for simplicity, and we'll add a background color. Okay, we'll add a background color to it, and then I'll go with an RGB, or just go with gray. And there you have it. Play around with it, and obviously it's very different. Okay, we can also go with same coloring. Now this one, it needs to change this into some other different color, so it just pops out a little bit more. There you have it. We play around with it. You can definitely play with these. We'll get it a little bit more sharper. Okay, run it and see what the difference is. There it is. It pops a little bit more. That's what we're looking for. We go over here more, and then hashtag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you have it. Press run, and it will look like this. I made it pop out. As you guys can see, there's a clear shadow in the back. We can definitely make this a little bit lighter, so that way there's a difference between the shadow and this. And there you have it. That's how you add a shadow to it. Okay, very simple, very straightforward. That's how you do it. Okay. There's a lot of ways to do this, so I'll go over more in the next video, but this is what it is. This is how you add a shadow from left to right. Obviously, you only have to write the vertical and horizontal offset. If I apply negative, you can see where it is, and it changes like that. I don't necessarily don't have to both be negative and positive, and we'll have the shadow right there. So definitely check it out. If you guys need more questions or anything like this, feel free to email me. But this is pretty much the end of this video. Okay, if you liked it, let me know. If you have more questions, anything you guys want me to add to the next video, let me know and I'll add it. Okay, thank you for listening, you guys. See you guys next week. Bye.